Okay, I did want to start off making a point first. With the feedback that I've been getting from most of these videos, it definitely has helped me push to make these episodes happen more often. But the thing is that I do have two jobs, and even though one of them I can put on the side, the other one is kind of an issue because I have to work weekends. Plus, to make a point, I want to keep this a little bit of a secret from my wife, not because I want to hide this from her, but because I would rather show her this whole channel once it really does take off. And I'm not saying I'm gonna overdo it with her, but at the same time, let's keep it friendly. I also have been noticing that every single time I do have a drink with me, or I do have something like popcorn or whatever, it definitely helps making these videos a lot easier to make. Another issue being is I am still pretty fresh with editing and handling programs like Vegas and OBS, and I'm gonna try my best to get better at it, but I've noticed more and more that every single time I do try to give my attention to some video trying to teach me how to use it, it definitely doesn't go well. But I definitely am pushing harder and harder to learn better and how to edit properly. I did want to say though, thank you for all the positive feedback that came back to me. I had a couple comments on there, and I just want to say thank you for all the support that's coming my way. But in all honesty, we're not here for that at all. But we are going to do the next episode in Lost Tapes being Bigfoot. Now this episode has a little bit of a different tone to it. It definitely seems a little bit more informative in nature, like it's trying to get you the idea that this actually does exist, and I kind of like that. But first, like always, we definitely have to start off with it's gonna happen in every episode, so just try to get used to it. Now, I don't mean to make it a point that I don't think these creatures do exist. I feel like they could possibly exist, but at the same time, the way that they present their information and everything that they show to us, it just isn't believable. But anyways, let's start off the episode. The episode does start off by introducing a man called Grover Krantz or whatever his name is. Now, I actually did a little research on him, and he actually is a real person. Unlike the other people that they've kind of just crammed in the episodes, he is actually a scientist. He studies anthropology, which is the study of bones, and the way they start off this episode makes it kind of feel like they have actual legit proof that Bigfoot could exist. This really hinted at a kind of informative nature that Lost Tapes was going to kind of show in this episode, but as always, they go right back to their field. Just like with the last episode of Loch Ness Monster, they did a lot of newspaper and news articles about issues of boats being lost at sea, but it never really showed any definitive proof that it was the Loch Ness Monster, or it was this. Because if anybody knows how it is at sea, boats get lost all the time because there are storms, the waves are huge, and in all honesty, boats fail all the time. Their engines cut out, and when that happens, you're kind of a victim of the sea. But we're gonna get straight into the episode. So following this, it goes into its general trend of its introduction. Following this is its general kind of theme song. I'm gonna call it that, just because it seems like they put this on purpose. The show starts off by doing the same thing it always does, introducing some people who claim they're seeing these things. That shows a couple names that Bigfoot goes by, like Yeti or I mean, whatever. It's not important, really. The episode starts off by introducing us to a woman named Rachel Glenn, and she's basically just a wildlife enthusiast, works for the Game and Fish Department, and her primary goal is to help fight against poaching against bears. It starts off a little weird because it kind of reminds me that Lost Tapes has almost no idea how to properly set up a story, because it shows this woman putting up cameras, which is fine. You want to record encounters and you want to catch people in the act, but at the same time, who grabs a camera like this? Now, I'm sorry, but it looks like she's reaching across and grabbing it, but at the same time, if you didn't notice, my hand was at least half a foot away from the actual camera. The way she grabs it just doesn't seem believable at all, but I mean, we're gonna skip that part. We're gonna go now into what I can only describe as someone shooting an elephant, or someone playing an elephant MP3 and just kind of distorting the audio a little bit. But here's the noise for reference. Following the noise, there's kind of a gunshot, and we're led to believe that maybe something happened. She goes back to her trailer, and then she kind of does a little documenting, and she kind of records like her encounter with it. But there's kind of a camera that's pointed out in the window, and it's meant, if anybody knows what that means, it's meant to let us know that somebody's maybe watching her. It's switching on back to show us people who claim to have met or heard sounds of Bigfoot. And then it also goes back to our anthropologist, which is just explaining the anatomy of what Bigfoot might be. But it doesn't pertain to the story once again. We're given a general description of what it could look like, and then eventually on those cameras that she put up, there is kind of a shadowy figure that is off in the distance in one of the cameras, and I'll put it up right here probably. But honestly, it just seems like a person in maybe a costume. But anyways, that's besides the point. I love one point in particular, the fact that they have to put across the screen, not a bear, with the not underlined. Like they're just trying to remind us, nope, this can't be a bear, this can't be a bear. Like, what the hell are you trying to prove? It's hard to prove this point when I don't even see the face of the creature. So once again, we go straight back. There's a camera kind of watching her by the river, and we're led to believe that maybe someone again is watching her. We hear another noise, which sounds kind of more like a bear, but she kind of gets startled and goes off. So then it cuts to another camera, and it kind of just is there to remind us that she's not alone. There are poachers out there. This poacher is really persistent, and I don't know about you, but if I were someone who comes across some cameras or maybe like a trailer for a game and fish department officiant, I would get the hell out of there. They're probably not alone, and they probably have contact with the outside environment. So for you to think that maybe I can take this person, just go elsewhere. Go to the other side of the mountain or something, and I guarantee you people won't be there. Now, this isn't a way to get people to start poaching and to avoid the police, but don't be stupid. The episode also does make a point following this to let us know that people are violent, which is kind of obvious, especially when they're caught doing something wrong. Like, this poacher will obviously try to fight back now that we were introduced to this. So I'm gonna skip a little more forward into the video. I just wanted to show this point though, where she is looking into the camera and she kind of catches a glimpse of something off in the distance. And as she gets closer, she kind of notices that something is watching her and she runs away. And I think this is the worst thing you can do, because basically when you're being taught about bears, there are two things you can do. One of them is act tough and stand your ground. The other one is to play dead. Now, the worst thing you can do is run. Just like with everything in life, running from a bear provokes the bear. It kind of gives it the idea that I can chase this, that I can get this. Now, even if it's play or not, you don't want to chance anything with bears. So once again, it cuts forward, some more camera footage, there's someone in the camera, and we're led to believe that like I said before, she's not alone. I think I'm going to make it a point to try to cut away from when someone's actually talking, not about the story, because it just seems boring. So the last day pops up of her study, and we're led to believe that now this guy has found her, and he is going out of his way to try to get her. And now he has one of the cameras, and he's basically recording her as she's inside the house. And he kind of does a little bit of a turn, and then she's right there. So then she comes outside secretly and actually finds the guy, pulls her gun out on him, and he kind of is giving this cocky attitude like, oh, she can actually do something, oh, we're gonna, like, kind of a rapey kind of feel, and it's just overall creepy. So then eventually after some talking, she gets the camera back, and the guy pushes her and he storms off, conveniently with the camera facing in his direction. Because why not? Some more talking about some footage that she's gotten in the past where it shows some kind of Sasquatchy, Yeti, Bigfoot kind of vibe to it. But I'm going to cut even more forward to probably the best part of the episode. This is when I kind of believe karma exists. And it also reminds me of how far we've come from cameras back in the day. It cuts back to the last recording of her where she tells people that she had gotten into that encounter with the guy and she had luckily fended him off, but she doesn't know what to do. And then she hears a gunshot. And then we find out it's the poacher, and he's out there, he's making all these demands. She kind of freaks out and storms, gets her gun, and then she kind of hears a noise, and it's almost like someone fighting off a creature. And we're led to believe that it was actually Bigfoot that saved her. Now I'm going to backtrack a little bit, because earlier on in the episode, and I'll show it right now, it kind of introduced a point that animals and people have been able to maintain like a beautiful connection with one another. And we're led to believe that in some kind of way, Bigfoot did this to protect her. Now, needless to say, I don't know if Bigfoot or any other kind of Sasquatchy creature feels this kind of way. But instantly when they showed this, it automatically reminded me of like a King Kong kind of movie where it's the ape that's saving the girl from either mass panic or a person or whatever. And honestly, it was the highlight of my day. Now, needless to say, it definitely was overall funny, but the episode kind of cuts there. It lets us know that this was the only recordings that they had of her. It doesn't let us know whether or not she came back safe or not, and quite frankly, it was honestly cut short. You could have introduced a lot more to this. Like, honestly, you could have maybe even made it perceive like she was captured by him. And who knows, maybe she was, in some creepy, rapey, kind of monstrous way. But unfortunately, that's where it ends. Now, it doesn't end there because obviously we have the best part of the episode. It's gonna pop up every time. It's just that reminder that, yeah, this was all fake. But like I said in the last episodes, this didn't seem fake to me when I was about a 10-year-old kid. It honestly seemed real. Now, needless to say, whether or not you believed it, it definitely did make you kind of look behind you. I mean, honestly, recording this episode, I looked behind me a couple times. Not because I was scared or anything, but because you kind of get that little hint in the back of your ear saying, there might be someone watching you. That's always just me, though. Like, if you're not like that, then you're probably a lot more sane than I am. I mean, I already know that I'm probably a little insane. But the episode ends there. And I did want to make a point across that this was actually probably my least favorite episode, just because it didn't really seem like you got much out of it. You got a couple shadows every now and then, but you really didn't look too far, and you didn't really get much. You got a mangled body, which really didn't look mangled. You could obviously tell that maybe they just splattered some fake blood on him, but that was the bulk of the episode. But I'm gonna leave it off there because this is getting way too long, and I gotta edit this video too. So thank you so much for everybody who's actually checking out this video too. I'm starting to get into the idea of posting these episodes on Twitter, trying to get the idea out there. And if you want to help out, I'd really appreciate a like and a follow on Twitter. I'm going to link it down on the bottom like I have been. And also at the same time, if you could share this video, like it, subscribe, I'd really highly appreciate it. Because I do want to make more than this. I am limited, like I told you in the last episode, but hopefully we can get something going. I recorded a video of Minecraft the other day, but it turns out my audio didn't even at all show. So I got to figure out what's going on there. But other than that, I really appreciate all the help and the support from everybody. Thank you so much for helping out on this episode. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.